Welcome into our overtime segment here at SportsSource.tv. We appreciate you joining us for this bonus online coverage. It's brought to you by Blue Smoke Cigar and Smokin' Joe's. Now, Smokin' Joe's I've been telling you about for years. I enjoy an occasional cigar. When I get them, I go to Smokin' Joe's. They have a great location down in Alcoa with a walk-in humidor. It's beautiful. Been there for many years. But they've moved. They used to have a downtown location here. Instead, they have created their own lounge, their own club, where you can buy a membership. You don't have to have a membership, but if you do, you get the leather seating, you get the wall of TVs, you get the card tables, the games, and the walk-in humidor, and the great selection and the great prices on cigars. Blue Smoke Cigar, located across from Rafferty's out off South Peters Roads in the backside of a shopping center there. You'll find it. Really nice. And, of course, the original Alcoa store down there for Smokin' Joe's. All right. I want to welcome in VFL Will Overstreet, VFL Daniel Hood down there, and then media guys Mike Griffith, Jimmy Himes right here. I want to talk about the bowls and how these bowls are decided. It used to be all about fans traveling. And there's the thought that Tennessee won't get a good bowl this year because fans are mad, they're not going to travel. I think it's changed a little in the last couple of years, though. The towns make money from fans coming in, but the bowls themselves have never been more reliant on a corporate sponsor. The corporate sponsor is the corporate sponsor because they want to have a 4-hour advertisement on game day, and they want TV ratings. So my question is, does Tennessee's name recognition and their high-scoring offense trump what could be poor fan turnout this year? Do you think the fan apathy or anger will hurt Tennessee in today's bowl selection, or do you think that their TV name and draw may surprise some people?
That's a tough one. You're right in a lot of senses of what the bowl is looking for, but you do have some political minds and bodies involved in some of these bowl groups, and so that would be the city's back, and so you'd want fan-based turnout. That's a hard one because I can see Tennessee's offense. Offense puts butts in seats, and so for TV ratings, offense brings a lot to it. So you could sell them as an exciting game against another high-powered offense. And so it's really hard to decide because you know the fan turnout is not going to be very good. But in a place like in Music City, where people may not get over to Knoxville as much, want to take their kids to go to a bowl game and see Tennessee play, that's probably the right mix of both worlds because you get to have some Tennessee fans not able to go to a lot of home games have that opportunity.
And I think if it is Nebraska, the Tennessee-Nebraska is a good name TV brand. But you guys think TV versus fans?
I wondered about the Citrus Bowl for that reason because you say LSU and Wisconsin, and I'm falling asleep by halftime. And I don't know if any points are going to be scored in that game. So that's why I wondered.
They've already played.
They'd already played, right. So they're even more. If Wisconsin falls to the Citrus, I didn't see that during the show, but what if? I mean,
I just talked about LSU was projected to the Citrus right now.
But what if it's Wisconsin in the Citrus? Could Tennessee take a backdoor because of what you're saying? And that's where I wonder about the attendance.
That's a lot of points.
That's a huge jump. I don't think Tennessee gets that big of a bounce.
That's why Tennessee won't go, though, because of what you said, because I don't think the fan base is going to travel nearly like it did to Jacksonville or to Tampa, in my opinion. So if you're trying to figure out the TV ratings, I think Tennessee will be fine. The combination of that and putting butts in the seats, that's why it's Nashville. That's why I don't think that Tennessee is as attractive to the Florida Bowls as it was the last 2 years because the fans were excited about the direction of the program. They're not as excited right now.
Now, the interesting thing, and we pointed this out last year on the show, went back and looked over the last 2 or 3 years that Tennessee had been in bowl games and looked at all the TV ratings. Tennessee, though they have that name, usually ranks lower in terms of the bowls that are watched. Now, you could make a case, happened last year too, you make a case, though, that because it's blowout against Iowa, because it's blowout against Northwestern, people flip, there are other games on, your numbers drop. But if these guys are hard at analytics that are sitting there saying, okay, who goes where, Tennessee's ratings aren't normally as good as this. The other thing to keep in mind, though, is the Big Ten now has a say in who goes where. The SEC is the one that now makes these decisions. Now, you can still have the backdoor deal like the Tax Slayer. Dave Hart and the Tax Slayer folks were talking and did a great job. They kept it quiet. Nobody knew it. Apparently, they went to the SEC and said, we want each other. And the SEC said, fine, we bless this. We bless this union. Have at it. But the SEC is going to make somebody unhappy. It's just the nature of the game. Somebody's not going to get the bowl they want.
I remember the Tax Slayer, somebody told me there was a 10% chance they were going to go. And I kind of blew it off, so I didn't own it. I was wrong. But that's what happens on these backdoor deals. So the Citrus makes its pick. and then the SEC assigns the next 6.
Yeah.
So they're trying to look at the matchups, and they're trying to find out travel, TV ratings, what's the best, who's played most recently in these games. And remember, you can't go back to a bowl that you were at in that pool of 6 in the last 3 years.
Yeah. And
So you cannot go back to that because of this 6-year contract they've signed.
Daniel, well, I want to get to you in a second. Let me throw this out here. The 4 bowls I think Tennessee could wind up in: Music City, Belk, Liberty, Texas, among all flukes. But here's the thing: the teams in the running there, Arkansas, Texas, and Liberty, they've already been to in the last few years. So take those out. All right. Liberty, Georgia has been to the Tax, the Belk, the Gator, and the Liberty recently. Texas A&M has been to the Music City and the Liberty. So you're running out if you live by the, well, you can only go to this bowl so many years.
In the 3-year period.
You're kind of, what happens when all the teams have already been to all those bowls? Then you run into, okay, somebody's going to get screwed in this deal. Because the teams you're talking about, there's only so many permutations that you can rotate it and make it good for everyone. And you scoff. Weird things happen in bowl season. Tennessee, technically, could wind up in the Texas Bowl. I can't imagine that would
Well, they
happen,
could. I'm
but
just
it's
saying,
possible.
if you're the SEC, Tennessee's been a product that's been heavily promoted. They've had 3 game days. They've been on CBS in the afternoons. That's what's different this year than the previous years. They've been in the top 10, and they got a player in Josh Dobbs that's probably the most exciting player that's really not on the national landscape. He should be, but he's not for some reason. I don't understand it.
8-4. That's why he's not. Say, I mean,
There's a lot. Well,
There are
the
a
guy
lot of
from
people look at it and
Louisville
say-
lost his last 2 games, and people are still talking about him as a Heisman winner. He lost to
he's
Kentucky.
He's not 8-4.
I think
agree.
the main thing when it comes down to the bowl season, I mean, everybody that's in the bowl business is there for one reason, and it's to make money.
Yeah.
I mean, call it what it is, and you know, Mike makes a good point about Tennessee was on College Game Day 3 times this year, or whatever it is, and everything else. So nationally, fans have a great recognition of Tennessee. And they, you know, they're excited about what they saw at Virginia Tech with Josh Dobbs, with Derek Barnett, and those guys playing. I think that's why Tennessee may get a bump, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to which one is going to make each corporate sponsor the most money, so
Yeah.
that they come back next year.
So I think the TV is starting to trump the travel.
I mean,
I think it's changed over the last 2 or 3 years because 10 years ago, yes, people had a sponsor, but now every bowl has a huge sponsor. The money those sponsors pay is bigger than ever before. I think they call more shots than the Chamber of Commerce saying, but our hotels. Because the thing we always get that's odd is, all right, would the Music City Bowl prefer to have Tennessee and Tennessee fans who just come in for the day, or Arkansas who may bring their fans in for the weekend? You know, so, but you see those deals where Florida goes to the Citrus Bowl, Florida goes to the Outback Bowl. They're not bringing people in for weeks. That's why I think the TV has now kind of moved past travel, because you're seeing people stay at home quite a bit.
And I think the one thing to add to it is you look at a company like Pilot wants so much to get a bowl game right now that they have the battle at Bristol. And so to gain revenue there. And I think it's just, it's going to be about, like you said, which one's going to bring the most money. And it'll be fun to see. I'm excited about it.
One other reason the Music City would be attracted to Tennessee is that Tennessee's only been there once. And
Right.
the Music City Bowl's been there 19 years maybe?
Yeah. And only one trip that you've been over, that was the Derek Dooley first year.
We don't want to go back
And
there.
let's face it, Tennessee, Nebraska. If you can get Tennessee, Nebraska,
That's
a good
their
matchup on
That's
paper.
what
That's
they
a
want.
good matchup. It is a good matchup.
Oddly enough, one thing that I think would work in Tennessee's favor right now is their terrible defense. In the fact that if you take Tennessee, you're going to
gonna
have
have
a
a lot of
fireworks show.
That's it.
You
That's
are
right.
going to, I mean, they're averaging 36 points on offense. The last 3 weeks, they're giving up about 36 points on defense. That, to me, would be a draw for both
That's why I
television
said
and
the
bowl.
TV rating deal of it is it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of scoring.
Well, let me ask you this. I'll ask Mike and Jimmy, as somebody covering these games, you could give them any of these, let's say the field of 6 bowls, all right, the ones that they rotate. We're taking them out of the Citrus, but I'll give you, if I can find my page, all right, the teams that finish in that 6-team rotation would go to the Outback, Tax Slayer, Music City, Belk, Liberty, or Texas. Tennessee never been to the Belk Bowl. For you two, which would you rather go to? Just to cover it, which you think would be better for Tennessee, more fun? Out of those 6, I want to go back to the Outback.
Out of the 6.
Tax Slayer, Music City, Belk, Liberty, or Texas.
With selfish reasons, I'd rather go the Outback. Selfish reasons.
Yeah.
I love Tampa. My aunt lives there.
There you go.
I want to go back.
All right.
I know the lay of the land. I've been there enough. I would prefer Tampa if you gave me a choice,
All right.
personally.
Tampa for Jimmy.
Yeah, as far as destination location, I agree with Jimmy because of the weather. Charlotte's a great city, though. I like Charlotte, North Carolina, a lot. It's got a fabulous downtown, restaurants, and you really can't go wrong in Nashville. You really can't. It's a great city.
Nashville's great too. To me, I think Nashville's a lot of fun. I don't know that fans look at it as, wow, this is great. We're going 2 hours away. But I don't hate Nashville. I know what Vol fans think of Nashville compared to, let's put it this way. Nashville's great, but compared to New Orleans, there's not much that's going to stack up with it.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, that's the elephant in the room here. That's really where Tennessee should be.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be going. Now, let me ask you, we get to that one second. Let me get Daniel and Will. As players, does it matter to you where you're going? If you're on the team?
Yeah, it definitely matters.
But I need to okay, let me be more specific here. Does it help you get fired up to play the game or not? Where you are, does that impact how well you play in the game?
No. I mean, not how well you play in the game, but how excited I am about the bowl game. Yeah.
Well, it seems like one would impact the other, though, doesn't it?
No. Bowl game is a reward. It's a destination reward where you're going to go.
Okay.
So,
see, I would think if you're more excited about, and that's why I should have phrased it better the first time. I would think if you're more excited to go to New Orleans than Nashville, you probably play better in New Orleans.
well, there's a lot of stuff, other distractions.
There's Rick's Cabaret. As somebody who played in the Music City Bowl, tell you, they could be watching, so don't rip the Music City Bowl.
No, we're not. And I'm just going to say that the two bowls I was lucky to go to was Atlanta and Nashville, and one of them is more of a party city, one of them is not. We had a lot more fun in Atlanta with all of our teammates. You know, the guys that were on the team, we still hang out to this day because of probably the times we had there. But, you know, the fans didn't enjoy it.
That didn't have anything to do with your coaching staff having a little fun down there too, did it?
It may have, but it's just like when you're playing, you know, in Knoxville, I mean, you know, we've seen in the paper before of a player jaywalking or something silly like that. Send me far away. Send me to Texas where nobody knows who we are, and let's go party, have a good time, and try to get the bowl in.
All right. How much partying goes on bowl week?
A lot.
Let's just say that I think one of the statistics that our nutrition told us was that alcohol can stay in your system for up to a week and inhibit your play. So you try to decrease that if you can.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Let's back to the New Orleans thing. I mentioned it in the show. It's an $18 million bowl, and you're right. It goes into a pool, but you keep a percentage. If you get one of those big boy bowls, you keep a bigger percentage of it. So Tennessee lost money in that game, and that's kind of not been talked about a whole lot. But in terms of the administration, if you're looking for a reason not to be happy, it hurts your wallet. You would have made more money going to the Sugar Bowl than where you're going now. In terms of the administration, do you think that upset anybody? Or is it too empty over there? The hall's too empty right now, and the office is all boxed up to where it doesn't matter. There's nobody to upset.
Well, you know, I'm not convinced the president really understands the bowl scene anyway. He was dancing about the Tax Slayer Bowl on video. So I don't think they get it. I don't think they really understand that what really
they were
hurts
trying
them,
to promote the program.
It was a bad PR move. What really hurt is the prestige.
Not as bad as Champions of Life.
Because the prestige hurts you in the recruiting trail, the prestige hurts you in future scheduling, prestige hurts you in jersey sales. It's a smackdown to go from the Sugar Bowl to the Music City. There's no way to slice it. You can't quantify this in dollars, but it hurt Tennessee's image so bad you couldn't put a number on it.
Well, there's some bonuses that some coaches probably didn't get. I think there's a difference in the bonus structure. So.
I think the UT administration probably doesn't care as much about the money portion of it, because if you're focused and you're doing the right thing as the administration, you're playing to your donors, and it takes one donor to write a check for $20 million. And
that's a pretty good point.
Yeah, I don't know how many times that. But here's the thing: I think a donor is more likely to stroke a check if he just got back from a drunken wild weekend in New Orleans rather than a night in Nashville.
He might forget how many zeros he just put in.
That's $10 million. Watching, we gotta go. But I will say this: watching Oklahoma and Oklahoma State yesterday, that Oklahoma defense. I mean, Oklahoma State kept turning the ball over deep. If you'd have had not only the Sugar Bowl, not only would all eyes be on you. There are no other bowls played at that time, so it's a great recruiting tool. Yeah. You're in New Orleans. Fans are happy. That thing would have been a shootout. Yeah. Oklahoma's defense, now granted Tennessee's got worse in the last month. If you prorate that, Tennessee's defense is worse. But over the year, Oklahoma's defense is as bad as Tennessee's. That thing literally could have been 56-55, which to me, there'd be some people out there that say, oh, terrible game, we lost 56-55. I would look at that and say, Sugar Bowl, Oklahoma, everybody watching, shootout, that is the definition of a fun bowl. The landmine, and I'll say landmine instead of piece of crap you stepped in. I just said piece of crap. You stepped in. It was actually a landmine buried under a piece of crap, Vanderbilt, that you stepped on.
Flaming.
It was a flaming bag of crap sitting over a landmine. Wow. That's what you stepped in when you blew the Sugar Bowl, blew a great game, blew the trip. Just unbelievable. All right.
I see you've gotten over it.
Yeah, exactly. Again, we were going to be live on January 1st. Wow. Thanks to Daniel Hood. Thanks to Jimmy Himes. Thanks to Mike Griffin. Thanks to Will Overstreet. We're going to go out and party like it's a bowl game. We'll see you next Sunday at 11 a.m. right back on Channel 6. Thank you.